for today's word of the day. Which word of the day is storkiatical adjective?
oh no.
Storkiatical. This is a very fascinating word. It's a cool word, but it's also interesting because it's very rare and almost never used. It's the weirdest thing. So it's a word that just means pertaining to magic. That's literally all it means. So it's a definition that's vague, generic, and lazy, much like this issue. Anyway.
Wow.
Sorry, putting it all out. Anyway, it's derived from late Greek stoikiatikos, and it originates to 1646 based off some passages of scripture by John Gregory, and it has been used once in the 2015 novel Sorcerer to the Crown by Zen Cho. So those are the only places that I've seen it.
Wow.
But yeah, storkiatical.
Storkiatical. It's not about storks.
No.
You haven't even read that?
Wait, what are you doing with the book?
So he has the confidence to finish the story.
Hear now the words of the witches.
This is Kevin, and welcome to Words of the Witches, the Charmed podcast that will guide you through the lesser-known published material in the Charmed universe and decide how it fits into the grand narrative of the TV series.
All right, everybody. Hello, spellworders. Welcome to Words of the Witches, episode 101. 101 barrels of fun. That's my little honey bun. South Pacific.
Dalmatians.
Old school Rogers and Hammerstein. 101 Dalmatians too. Disney. So there we go. I am Kevin, your resident Charmed resource.
And I'm Shaina, and I just love comic books.
Yeah! Oh my gosh, right here! We're going to cover 1,000 Deaths number 5. But before we get into this issue, oh my gosh, there's so many things. I wanted to read some things from last poll was about, their memories, and some came in before or after we recorded, so I wanted to read two things.
I actually remembered the question this week, and you just throw it out there. You don't even give me a chance. Whatever.
No, this was last week. No, this was last week's question.
Okay.
So this is going back a week. So I didn't even tell you this one yet. So this is, what are your favorite moments from the podcast so far? And Pris on Spotify. Also, this is also Piper's Kitchen on Twitter and 3's Charmed, multiple accounts. But it says, the community that has been built from the podcast. Every episode is like watching Charmed over again. It feels like home, having a laugh with family.
Aw, that's so sweet. Yeah.
Yeah. And then this is one I just wanted to read. This was a message I got a while ago from Bernard. He says, when I came to Charmed, I kept wanting more despite there being 180 odd eps. Actually 179, but that's fine.
He said odd.
Your pod... Yeah. My daughter, odd. He says, and your pod is as interesting and a matter of record as the House of Hallowell pod. It feels like an official piece of merchandising.
Ooh, I like it.
I was like, some really cool stuff. I mean, I know people don't drop their panties like they do for us, like they do for House of Hallowell, because people are just like, oh my god, the stars, I'm so wet right now. Oh my god, they just eat that stuff up like crazy. But it's fine. It's cool to be like one of the ones to listen to watch out for. So.
Well, the joke's on them because I'm not wearing panties right now, just shorts.
Oh, commando. Yes.
Yes.
Let it fly. Let it be free. Okay. So Sean, now's your moment. What was the question from last week?
Well, Kevin, thank you for asking. The question was, what would you change about Centennial Charmed? Would you...
I'll give you the options. Okay, and actually, I changed one because the one I had before, my fourth option was pretty much exactly what all the other answers were anyway. So I took Nugent's option. So I did what was Centennial Charmed missing? Better send off for Cole, Balthazar, Piper and Phoebe, at least seeing the alternate timeline, or a stronger memorial to Prue.
Oh yeah.
So those were the options. Yeah. So. What do you think people have said?
Oh, I don't even know. I'm going to say people would want more Phoebe and Piper to be involved.
Okay. I did put this on both Instagram and Twitter, and sometimes they differ. It's really weird. So the one with the least amount of votes was actually Piper and Phoebe in the alternate timeline. You got 9% of the votes.
Wow.
Then 12% said Balthazar, 16% said better send off for Cole, and 63% wanted a stronger memorial to Prue.
Everybody loves their Prue. Ugh.
They do. People are, and the thing is, like, I'm a Prue girl. I'm such a Prue person. I love Prue, but I actually decided to do a better send off for Cole. I changed my answer because I think a better send off for Cole would have included Phoebe and Piper in the alternate timeline. So they go hand in hand.
That's why I had trouble picking, because I feel like they kind of weave into each other. Like, had you fixed one, it would have fixed the others.
Right. And Balthazar would have been fun to see, but it's not necessary. It just would have been nice.
Yeah.
So that was on Instagram. On Twitter, it was a little bit different. So Twitter, Balthazar got 11%. Better Send Off for Cole got 16%. Then Sisters in the Alternate Timeline got 18%. So that it was number 2 on Twitter.
Wow.
But still, Stronger Prue Memorial got 56%. So that's still one.
Yeah.
So I'm glad I added that as an option, because he would have been mad at me if I didn't, apparently. But this week was also very interesting because I decided to do 2 polls.
Oh,
without
no.
telling anybody. I did another poll because it was such a hot topic on the episode. When does 1,000 deaths take place?
Oh, shit.
So I put it to a vote because I'm like, I'm a little bit bitter. I want to know. I want to see what people think. So on Instagram, the 2 options. It was my choice between 421 and 422, and Nugent's choice which was between 509 and 510. What do you think won here?
I think your choice is going to win because you are the ultimate authority on Charmed.
I showed you on the fandom that it was actually my choice on the actual literal fandom.
Yeah.
I'm like, they agree with me.
Oh.
Well, so on Instagram, 31% voted for Nugent's choice, season 5, and then 69%, 69, that's a historical number, voted for my choice between 4 and 422. So I felt validated there. On Twitter, we got 12 votes, so not as many votes, but 42% agreed with me, and 58% agreed with the season 5. So it's like, what it comes down to is really, to me, this is just an alternate dimension, and either one is going to have canonical problems, no matter where you put it.
True.
And whatever makes you most happy, put it there.
Well, and I think of it kind of like Halloween, like the new ones that made it so like nothing else happened in the canon. I'm like, was it really worth doing all that? Like, was it worth taking it all away? Because you didn't really do anything you didn't do anything new or exciting. Was it worth like all this hubbub over?
Right. Hubbub. All right. So shall we get into this comic? The last issue of 1,000 Deaths?
Let's do.
Silencia! Silence! So this is 1,000 Deaths number 5, published July 19th, 2017, written by Erica Schultz, illustrated by Maria Sinapo, colored by Heartwork Studios, lettered by Tom Napolitano, and edited by Anthony Marquez. And we have 3 covers. The first cover is it's weird. It's a weird cover because it's like promo pictures of the 3 girls from all different seasons. So we have a season 2 promo picture of Piper, a season 4 promo picture of Phoebe, and a season 5 promo picture of Paige. And they're like in like a weird stained glass church with flowers all around. Makes no sense whatsoever. That's Joe Caroni. And then cover B, we see Piper going hand to hand with She-Dracula. And yeah, that's Djall's name, don't forget, remember?
Yeah.
And there's like this weird light bursting behind them. And then we have Phoebe trying to do Piper's power with her hands, and then Paige's face like in the forefront. And that's by Maria Sinapo. Colors by Cici de la Cruz. Then there's cover C, which is just a season 4 promo picture of Paige. Yeah, just kind of there. I'm going to tell you right now before we start that I am not going to do the canonical section for this in the back because there's just so many. I'm just going to address the canonical errors as we go page by page.
This is already lining up so well. I think you love this. It's magically delicious.
And there's some some of them are not errors, but there's some interesting tidbits just that call back to the series. But I just got like every page I have something to say, so it's gonna be something. But page 1. So it starts off where we left off with Gabe and Leo after their fuck session, and we see like a vampire Gabe punching Leo as Leo is orbing Chud, and we see Gabe. He's like, "We're gonna kill the witches, no matter what, White Ladder. So hiding isn't going to help you or them." And then we see Leo orbed away, but then he orbed behind Gabe. He's like, "No!" And then he attacks him, and he grabs his face and his chesticle, and he says, "But it'll feel good to kick your ass." What do you think might be my problem with this page?
Well, first off, it looks like Leo is now topping Gabe. Like, they just switched roles. But let's see, what's your issue? It has to be something with Leo's orbing, because that's the only, like, thing that's canonical.
Leo would never say it feels good to kick your ass to a demon. Not in season 4 or early season 5.
He's
not
a pacifist.
Yeah. I mean, sure, he'd likely punch him. He does fight back. He would definitely tussle with him. But he didn't have that edge. He would never say anything like that until after his kids were threatened, until after Gideon. So it was late season 5, season 6, season 7. He would say something like this, but not in season 4 or 5.
Okay. Unless he's been holding it in so long, it's like letting out a big fart. He's like, God, this feels good. But no, I'm more on your side. So Leo and Gabe are fighting, and suddenly there's a unicorn. All right. And Leo is voicing what we're all thinking, what the? And then we see Shaina. Shaina pops in, and she's like, "Made you look," because it was one of
I think of Genie at the end of Aladdin. Made you look.
Made you look. And she throws a potion, and it crashes near Gabe. It goes, Krish, and he goes, "No!" And then Leo's like, "Thanks, Shaina," because he's bisexual. So he's like, "Thanks, Shaina." And then Shaina's like, "No prob. You mind doing the healing thing?" And he's like, "What did you throw at him?" And she's like, "A freezing potion." Okay, go on. Okay. I know what you're going to say.
I've got lots of things to say here. Well, first of all, I want to address... I told you about this, but I want to address a problem we didn't notice last time. Whereas when Shaina was on the phone, she insinuated that Paige wasn't around to heal her, when in season 4 or 5, she wouldn't have been around to heal her anyway, because she didn't know how to heal until season 8.
Yeah.
At least heal on her own.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. And, okay, there is a freezing potion. There is a temporal stasis potion in the Book of Shadows. So freezing potions do exist. So I guess this is possible, but I still don't like it. It bothers me. Piper did make a potion of this in Long Live the Queen, season 4, episode 20. But even then, if it was that potion, it would have been green and not blue. This is the wrong color. It bothers me that she even had to resort to this, but it's fine. Oh, I did find online, too. There's like, Erica did a commentary page by page of this particular issue. I thought what she said here was pretty interesting. It says, "When I wrote this page, I thought Dynamite or CBS was going to kick it back to me in a heartbeat. I had the image in my head of several suit-wearing people sitting around a conference table, not unlike Phoebe's Bay Mirror meeting in Book 1, saying, who does this comic book writer think she is? Just throwing in unicorns willy-nilly. I know, no one says willy-nilly. I say willy-nilly.
I say willy-nilly.
But she's like, and I'm not important enough to warrant such a meeting, but let me dream. Either way, I was able to get a unicorn into the story, and the little girl inside of me went, squee!"
That's amazing. I think it's very fun, and it is very charmed just to throw like a random thing like that, and it's explained that Shaina did it, so it makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is also going to be our power play moment.
Power play.
So today's power play is Miragenesis.
Sounds like a car.
But it's also known as illusion generation or illusion casting. And this is Shaina's power. The user can generate various types of illusions, from sensory and mental to external and environmental. At its peak, this ability can be used to not only create images, but also simulate a wide variety of environments, events, experiences, and conditions, accurately replicate different phenomenon and other effects, and potentially become tangible enough to have a variable degree of influence on reality. Oh.
Oh.
Some limitations that may apply is that the user may not have control over the generated illusions if they're really bad at the power, or they may be limited to creating a certain type of illusion or affecting a particular sense. So it might not be the whole gamut of it.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Put a pin in this freezing potion, because on the next page, I want to rant about it a little bit, because I have feelings. I have feelings too, Kevin.
Okay. I'm excited to hear. So the next page, we see Shaina, like, taking off her bandages after Leo healed her, and she's like, some girls carry pepper spray. I carry freezing potions. Thanks. And Leo's like, how long does it last? She's like, I don't really know. I made them to copy Pepper's powers, because Pepper, oh. And then Leo's like, have any more? And then she's like, always be prepared. And then she opens her bag, and there's a whole bunch of freezing potions. And then Leo's like, I gotta go. And he orbs away. And he's like, I'll go get the crystals. And then Shayna's like, he's not going anywhere. And then the bottom panel, we see Piper and Phoebe still battling the demon-possessed people. And Phoebe's like, we should have made more potions. And then Piper's like, can't do anything about that now. This would be much easier if I could just blow them up. And then Phoebe's like, no, they're people.
So this is similar to the discussion we had when Leo reveals that he can teach people astral projection, like Prue had.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's a similar feeling here, because I'm like, if people are able to make a potion this easily to mimic Piper's powers, because she has a lot of them, and it seems like it didn't take her that long, then I feel like this would change the course of Charmed, because this is a really intense power that people would be able to wield.
Because, Piper made potions to replicate her powers, but she did that herself. She knows her powers. She's the charmed one. Some random charge of Pages coming up with this, like, it seems way too advanced and too, like, no.
Yeah.
So it bothers me.
I would see, like, if you're right, I didn't even think about that. If she's a charge, she's a beginning witch. So how come Billy, per se, fucking Billy, wouldn't be able to do this? And if she was able to, she'd be a lot stronger.
Right.
All right. So next page, the fight continues. We see Phoebe saying, this'll leave a mark, as she woods a guy in the chest. And this guy who looks like he's straight out of Onward, it crashes into a table behind him. And then we hear Piper go, Fable! And then we see Piper in the midst of a fight, and she's saying, you're paying for that table, bitch.
Bitch. Absolutely.
And then we see Leo orbing in with Shaina, and he's like, you ready, bitch? And then Shayna's like, let's kick some demon ass, bitch.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any problem with this one, because it's just whatever. It's they're fighting. Although it is funny that Piper's like, why are you breaking my tables?
Yeah, you're going to pay for that, bitch.
So the next page, we see Phoebe, like, holding down Demon about to punch him. And this is weird to me, too. Because are they people or demons? Like, sometimes we just see them as the people with the red eyes, and then some of them are just, like, have the ears, they have the whole green skin. Like, are the people physically changing, or what is happening? It's inconsistent.
Yeah, because we do see, like, for example, I guess we'll talk about it later, but Paige is, like, completely separate from herself. So it's like the demon takes their form while their actual form is in hell, I guess.
But, like, Bay looks like a vampire, just like he looks like himself, but a vampire. Some of these people look like they're just turning into ghouly, goblin-y things.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just there's no straight through answer here.
Mm-mm.
But here they come, and then Shaina and Leo come with their bag of potions, their sack of potions. And it's like, and Phoebe's like, don't hurt them too much. And then Shayna's like, I'm more worried about them hurting us. Leo and Piper still fight off the demons. And she's like, took you long enough. And Leo's like, I had my own demon to fuck back at the manor, so it's fine. And then Shaina says, freeze the room. Piper says, there's too many of them. These will help.
Oh, no.
Okay, and so then Shaina tosses her, like, 5 different freezing potions, while Piper does this with her arms wide open, like, I am king of the world, the queen of the world. I hate it. I hate it so much. First of all, we're back to this thing. Piper says she can't freeze the room, which we already established last issue is a complete lie. Because she could totally freeze the room. And then, what is this wide-armed pose? He was like, it's so cool, but like, it's breaking Piper's freezing tradition. She does not use her power this way. Even if she could, it's not what she does. like this, like I'm just gonna be like this, and your potions are like, oh, and they're insinuating that like Shaina's freezing potions like supplement her power or they augment her power. It's like, no, she could have just done this to begin with. I'm just mad at this. I'm mad at it.
It is a cool looking image, though.
It is cool, but it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I know.
If she was anybody else, even if she was Phoebe, like I'm just so great, But no, this makes no sense.
Okay.
Of all the people to do this, Piper not.
Yeah. Well, much to Kevin's chagrin, on the next page, Piper says, "It works!" And then Phoebe says, "That was amazing." And then Piper says, "How did you do that, Shaina?" And Shaina says, "Easy. The Charmed Ones are my idols. I just made a potion to mimic the coolest power you guys have. I just, it was easy. I just did it. Like, it was super easy for me as a new witch just to do this thing. How come nobody else can do it?" So then Phoebe was like, "Wait, you think Piper has the coolest power? Phoebe." Anyway, so Piper says, "I hate seeing Paige like this." And Leo's like, "Well, you have the power to get her back." And Piper's like, "You fucking moron. We don't have the power of 3. And then Phoebe's like, "Want to see the scar?" And what? And then Shayna's like, "Gross." And we hear, "No, but you have Shaina. She's more powerful enough to help you save Paige. She's more than powerful enough to help you save Paige." So again, like, she's a new fucking witch. Like, she can take place of a Charmed One. And then Piper's like, "Okay, Shaina, are you ready to help us get Paige's soul back?" And Shaina says, "Wait, say a spell with you?" And Piper's like, "Yeah, we need the power of 3 to save the world, but we need you to save the power of 3. Kevin's so angry.
Okay. Why do they need... Well, first of all, some people will say that, like, why is Paige frozen? She can't be frozen, but that's fine because she's possessed. And we know, do you know that possessed witches can be frozen?
Mm-hmm.
That's not a canonical error. So that's fine. That's okay. But why do they need Shaina to say a spell? Is this a power of 3 spell? If it is, it doesn't make sense because Shaina isn't a Charmed One. If it isn't, it doesn't make sense because they wouldn't need Shaina to say it to begin with. They can just say it themselves on their own. Rage! They don't need Shaina for this at all! Period!
You know what I think Erica should have done just to kind of clean things up is it would have been easier, I think, to make Shaina a powerful witch that maybe just moved to town and she's looking for friends or a coven or something, right, and Paige is helping her out. Right. But making her... It's
almost like a supplemental Charmed One. Like, she's trying to take the place.
Yeah, making her a charge, it doesn't make sense canonically, and it doesn't make sense power-wise. So it's like... Yeah, there are better...
And I do realize... Yeah, I realized I want to include her, but this is done all wrong.
Yeah.
We do have our first You Look Familiar moment here.
Oh!
It's funny, she's so familiar to me, though. Reminds me of this old stray that used to hang outside my loft.
Familiars, that's what I'm looking for.
Have we met before? You look familiar.
This picture of Piper on the bottom, it's a little loose because it's not as accurate as some of the other You Look Familiars, but it's giving me the feels. It's based off a season 2 promo picture of Holly. It's a little bit different because they covered her ear with the hair, and like the face is a little different just to make her more older than she was in season 2. They don't have the bangs that she had in season 2.
Bangs.
but the same kind of look and same kind of pose is there. So I'm putting them together.
Okay.
So now, oh
no.
So now they say the spell. Rhyme time.
Should we try a spell?
Why not? Let's try a spell.
In the wind, I sing this rhyme. Bring death before me, before my time.
You've really got to lay off the rhyming, Prue.
Wonderful. Witty, but wordy.
I did the rhyme. I will do the time.
Good night.
Split this form, body and soul. Remove the demon from inside the fold. Pair true body and soul again. This evil magic is at end. So it's Phoebe and Piper and Shaina holding hands, saying the spell to restore Paige. So then we see her cut to the cage in the underworld where Gabe is like passed out. Or Gabe is like, Paige, where are you? And then she's like, Gabe, no! And she's like disappearing. Her soul's going back. And then her soul comes back. And then Phoebe's like, Paige! And she's like, no, I have to go back to the underworld. Gabe, it needs me, or whatever. And then Piper's like, first we have to restore these souls with the power of 3. Then we can save Gabe. These people need us, Paige. She's like, okay, whatever. So then they like bring the souls back to to the people. And this part, I got so mad. I'm like, Paige, bitch. Like, if you're restoring the souls of the people, why do you need to go back to the underworld to save Gabe? Saying the spell should save him too. I mean, they don't know what happens after, but you should assume that this would save Gabe anyway, so why would you need to go back there?
True that. Speak your truth.
It's like, come on. Lazy. We do also have another You Look Familiar moment here.
Have we met before? You look familiar.
Although this one is kind of shade because that top page, like top panel where they're doing the spell and they're holding hands, that is directly drawn from Something Wicked This Way Goes, season 7, episode 22, when they're around the Book of Shadows and they're saying the power of 3 will set us free around the Book of Shadows. Oh, except they replaced Paige with Shaina. It's like major diss. It's like Paige's pose, Rose's pose, but now they just drew Shaina into her place.
Aww, that is a diss.
Yeah. So, but that's another You Look Familiar moment. There's quite a few in this one.
Cool. So we see the sisters and Leo and Shaina, right? It's all 5 of them?
Yes, yeah.
They're orbing into where the possessed Gabe is, and one of them...
And this is after they saved the other people in the club, so all the other people are saved now,
yeah.
I guess, except for him.
And one of them says, I believe that's Phoebe, says, I don't know now. I don't know how I'm going to explain this to Elise. There's a lot of spelling errors in here, I noticed.
I was like, okay, editor, where were you? Where were you, editor?
And then Piper says, she's safe, Phoebes. That's what's important. And then Paige is like, oh, Gabe, I'm sorry, sweetie. And then Piper says, we're going to save you. And then Paige says, Leo, take Shaina somewhere safe. Shayna's like, wait, where are you going? And then Paige says, we're going to hell. And they go down there and they find, I forgot her name.
Maisie.
I knew it was something basic. And we see Maisie holding the real Gabe by knife point, and she's like looking for this one. And they're like, where's Djall? And she's like, oh, he'll live to fight another day. And then Paige is like, you won't, bitch.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Problems here, too. Okay, here's my problem with this page. See, that's why I could not wait this. I would not be able to contain this until the end if we had to go through this whole issue. So they go to the manor where I just don't understand. Why don't they try to say the spell to bring him back right there and then? They don't even try. I would have been like, oh, we can just save him here. But they go right to the underworld where his soul is, not even his body. It's just his soul. Okay? But I'm mad at this too because Maisie is threatening his soul with a knife. How would a knife work on a non-physical soul? Like, even how would it even be a threat? Like, True. This is the same problem I had with Soul of the Bride novel because they did the same thing. It's like, no, the body is elsewhere. That's the fragile part. The soul is just like something that's keeping it separate. I mean, if this was like the ancient Athame, where you could maybe, then I might believe it. But this is not the ancient Athame. This is just a generic, basic bitch Athame. So I don't know. If you're going to change standard logic, yeah, if you can make this threatening, but you have to explain it first. You can't just be like, oh, I'm going to kill him with this knife.
Sure.
All right. So then the next page, we see Paige so angry that Maisie has Gabe, and she orbs the knife, the Athame, to her. She goes, Athame! And then Maisie's like, Daniel! You got the best of me again! I would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for you stupid charmed ones. And then she like orbs the knife like back at Maisie. It's like flying at her. She's like, "That won't be the only soul I take today," but she gets stabbed at the May. And she's like, "No, I lived too long to be put down like this." And then we have another rhyme time moment.
I did the rhyme. I will do the time. Good night.
And it says, "Demon, warlock, thief of souls, you have no heart, you're black as coal. We vanquish you from heaven and hell to the in-between where you will dwell." Okay. So, based on this wording, this is not actually vanquishing her. They're vanquishing her from heaven and hell, this plane of existence, but they're taking her to somewhere between. It says to the in-between. So either this is in limbo or an astral plane or somewhere non-specific. But they're just banishing her somewhere, not vanquishing her. Also, this is demon, warlock. Is she a demon or a warlock? She can't be both. The spell is a mess.
She's also a thief of souls.
A thief of souls, sure. You can be a thief of souls. But, like, you're a demon. Why is warlock even in here? Is this, like, a generic spell that you just, like, use for everybody? Like, whatever you are. Okay. And then she goes, "No!" and she explodes.
As she's floating, she looks like a Sailor Moon villain to me.
Yeah, it is. And they have a potion too, so I guess they throw a potion at her as they say the spell.
Yeah. Also, I meant to tell you, and now I don't remember what comic it was, but I was reading my Marvel comics. I think it was Spider-Man or Miles Morales who did it. Somebody in the comic like went to go take something from someone, and they named it by just like how Paige does. It's like, this is totally a charm moment. They totally did this on purpose.
That's funny.
Mm-hmm. And then we see Paige is like, "Gabe, are you alright, Gabe?" And Gabe is like slowly fading, and he's like, "Can you hear me?" And they go to hold hands, and then Piper's like, "Maybe his soul is returning to his body." And Podge is like, "No, something's wrong. He should." And then he says, "Paige, can you hear me? You've been gone so long, Paige. It's been like 10 minutes." And then we see Paige starts orbiting the sisters away, and Phoebe is like, "We'll come back for you, Gabe. I promise." No, that's Paige, huh?
It's probably Paige because she's the one who's like, "Oh yeah, let me go, man." You know?
Yeah, and there's a hint of bangs on the one on the right, so that's probably Febois.
Yeah. I love that though. This reminds me of Kingdom Hearts. He's like, "Remember what I said before? I'm always with you too. I'll come back for you. I promise. I know you will. When you walk away." Sorry, Kingdom Hearts moment. So then the next page, it says, "Elsewhere, in the underworld somewhere, we see a sexy Djall, like doing his meditation pose, floating with little red swirlies around. And then he goes, his eyes open, he's like, and then we see like a little heartbeat kind of like flash before him, which is kind of cool. But he's like, "Maisie, no!" And then the other demons are like, "Going back to their world, Djall?" He's like, "Where are the souls you promised us?" And he's like, "I don't have time for this. Maisie, my one true love that I've known for 500 years, who turned me into a demon, is gone." and then like, "We don't care about her. We care about the soul." And he's like, boom. And then he like, lightning explodes things and they die. He's like, "Okay, good. Now that they're out of the way, I can let the charmed ones focus on them and make them die." La, la, la. Okay. So this heart line insinuates that Maisie has been killed, and Djall is pissed. But according to the spell that we have seen, she's not dead. It's not true. Erica, based on her commentary, confirms that Maisie was killed. That's what she intended. But if that's true, the spell wording should have been clearer. Language is very important when it comes to spells, and based on what was said, it only removed her from her current plane. So you need to do better if you wanted her to miss the thing that she was killed. I'm sorry, I'm such a bitch, but I'm just so mad.
So I have a realization on this page, because suddenly Djall has these big ears, and suddenly I'm like, girl's kind of cute with these big ears. Because Kevin, I have something. I have something to confess. I like big ears. I know a lot of times people are like, oh, it makes them look doofy or it makes them look dumb, but I think big ears are like adorable.
It's super charming. I feel you on that. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. Like
Someone,
alfalfa.
yeah. I'm going to call someone out because he messages me sometimes, but one of our listeners, Brandon Kyle Murphy, you've got nice ears.
Yeah.
I like your big ears, Brandon Kyle Murphy. Get it, girl.
Very good, very good. And he is a listener, so I will make sure that he will hear the shout out. We point him in the right direction.
Yes. But anyway, before I get too in trouble, we're back at the manor, and we're at the frozen Gabe, and then we see Podge goes, I don't understand it. We got everyone else's soul back. Why not Gabe's? And then Piper's like, maybe Djall has some special hold on him. I don't know. And Shaina has to pee really bad, and she's like, we'll figure it out, Paige. Doesn't she look like she's holding herself?
Hey, you doing my wee wee dance? What is that? I didn't even notice that. That's hysterical.
And then we hear, I may have an idea. And it's Phoebe. She's like, the Book of Shadows said that portal demons had to have some link to their doorways. It's the paint on Gabe's clothes. It has to be. Djall said it was special, remember, Podge? And then Podge is like, when we were in the underworld, Djall said he had given blood for the cause. And then Shaina says, so if his blood is in the paint, Phoebe says, then we need to get some paint. And Piper says, then we can vanquish his ass. Not the rest of it, just his ass.
Yes. I think this is interesting to me because we do learn now that Gabe's soul didn't return, and they do kind of theorize that maybe Djall has a special hold on him. That is like the first interesting thing in this comic.
Wow.
And that's cool. So I just wish it went somewhere. Okay, so and so then we have them saying that they need the blood to vanquish him. You don't necessarily need something of the demon in order to vanquish them. You don't even always need a potion. They insinuate that they need a spell and a potion. You don't always need that stuff. That's only for upper level demons. I mean, I'll go with it. It's sure, but I want it to be clear that this isn't the standard. You can vanquish people with just a potion. You can vanquish people with just a spell, and you don't always need something that's of theirs or something. That's a rule for scrying, yes, but not vanquishing.
Okay.
Okay. So then we see Phoebe and Paige orb to Gabe's studio where they want to gather some paint, and then we see Shaina working on more potions, and Pepper's on the phone, and she's like, remember, all those paintings are potential demon portals, so just get the paint and get out, quick! Shaina and I have everything prepared. We're just waiting for the blood. And then Phoebe's like, this would be easier if he wasn't so disorganized. Damn you, Gabe! And Pepper's like, you can't tame a creative spirit, Phoebes. And Phoebe's like, no, but you can dust every other month. What a weird thing to say.
Yeah.
Okay. And then she's like, maybe this will... And she gets the vision, but we don't see what the vision is. And then Paige is like, Phoebe, Febois, what did you see? And then she's like, we're going to need some serious help.
And then on my page, we get a double spread, and it says later, and we're at the manor, and it's colored so pretty right here. It's almost like neon.
It's a beautiful manor picture.
Yes. Yeah. And we see Djall. He's like, I know you're here, Wishes. I wanted you dead before, but now you've taken my mercy.
My mercy.
And then he says, you will pay for mercy. Show yourselves. And then we see this, like, damn Phoebe, as she's, like, coming at him from behind.
Splits.
Yeah. Double Phoebe. She's like, as you wish. And then he, like, intercepts her midair with his Jedi powers and throws her, and she's like, whoa! And he's like, pitiful! And then Piper's like, we're not done with you. And she, like, she's about to, like, shoot stuff at him, and he snaps, and he's like, I'm done with you! And then he's like, please, as Paige is like orbing in behind him, and then he just punches her in the face. Chud! He's like, "This is all you have, the great champions, defeated with the wave of a hand, pathetic." And then Shayna's like, "Don't worry, Djall. I'm more powerful than all the charmed ones combined." And she's like, "There's more coming your way."
Would you say that he easily dispatches them?
Yes, he does. And this week in X-Men, spoiler alert, I have another phrase I throw around willy-nilly. Like, I use the phrase more times than you masturbate in a day. Oh, not willy-nilly, another phrase.
Oh, another one. Okay. Oh, I'm excited. Yeah, Shayna's eyes are Glober green over here, too. She does look pretty cool. And Leo's just like, hey, you're standing. And then the next page, and these are pretty cool pictures. It looks like the charmed ones are coming out of things around the house. So Piper is coming out of the granite feather clock, Phoebe is coming out of a table, and Paige is coming out, and then Paige is coming out of the chandelier. And we see Djall, he's like, a simple illusion, how quaint. And then Piper's like holding her, or like having her potion like tossed into the air. She's like, oh, this is now illusion. So did you understand what was happening here?
Oh, so, okay. Because I was reading this at work, and people started talking to me towards the end, so I didn't put it together, but now I do. So these were illusions fighting Djall, and then they were actually hiding within objects around the house. That was happening?
So the original fight was just mirage. They were just hologram illusions that Shaina was conjuring, where the real ones were cloaked. So they were like cloaked within the objects, or like hidden. And then she's releasing the cloak that she had them on, and they're all coming out of the. So they are really cool. I do like the drawings here. Erica called these her Beauty and the Beast section, her Beauty and the Beast pictures. Yeah, so they are really done really well. Yeah.
I have one complaint. Well, two.
But okay.
One of them coming out of a table is super lame. Like, you couldn't have found a third object.
It looks like she just kind of like. It's not as cool as the other ones. Phoebe and the other one's just like, I'm just standing on the table. I mean, even if she came out from underneath the table, it might be better. But she's just like, I'm standing on the table.
I'm on the table. And
my feet are blurbley.
My other kind of soft complaint is I feel like Phoebe should have come out of the chandelier. I feel like with her being the one to kind of activate the charmed ones, like she's much more connected to it.
Yeah. See?
Yeah.
And like, you see too, because the chandelier and granite feather clock are huge symbols, iconography of the series. A generic table is not.
That's what I mean.
It's almost like, they could have had her in something else that was more, quintessential to the show. I don't know what it would be. It would be say that's in the room, but even just like a stained glass door should have done a stained glass door.
I mean,
that would have been better.
They could have established that, like, or even just showed one of them was reading the Book of Shadows maybe downstairs, and she's coming out of Book of Shadows, because Paige to me is very connected to it. Like, she's the one who obsesses over it.
So yeah.
Oh wow. Well, the next page we see the three sisters together, and they're throwing their now green potions, and Feybois like, no! And then Djall's like, you'll never learn, Americans! And then he yells, potions! And he, like, throws the sisters all over, I guess?
Yeah.
Why does he say potions and then he throws the sisters all over? Oh.
He's just like, he's like, I see potions! Potions!
Yeah.
I see you have them! Goodbye!
And then it looks like the sisters kind of, like, get out of his attack, and they yell, coming your way! And then all of them throw the potions at once, and they say, all your portals now are closed, release all things within your hold!
Yeah.
That was runtime, by the way.
There's more spell on this next page.
Okay, let's do a spell.
Yeah, but not yet. So then the next page we see the spell is still happening. I'll say that at the end. But what's happening in these pictures is we see that the blood that's in all of the Gabe's paintings is like being released and coming out and like, I don't know, going somewhere. And then we see Demon Jamie Chung like staring at some patrons at the gallery. And then she's like, and then all of a sudden she's like, oh, what happened? Oh, I'm myself again. I'm Jillian. Oh. And then we see the 3 charmed ones finishing the spell on the bottom. All right, so let's do rhyme time first.
I did the rhyme. I will do the time. Good night.
So rhyme time, the full spell is: all your portals now are closed. Release all things within your hold. Painting souls all in your grasp. Free them now, we do not ask. Close your doorways, fare thee well. We condemn you straight to hell. So that's the rhyme time. Rhyme time. And we also have a You Look Familiar here.
Have we met before? You look familiar.
This bottom picture of the 3 reading the spell is it's really funny to me because they actually take a season 3 picture with Prue from Death Takes a Halliwell when they vanquish the secret demons in the manor. So, Phoebe and Piper are still there. They made Piper's hair more flowy and they changed the outfits and everything. But Prue was the one who was holding Phoebe's hand just like this. So they took a picture from that spell.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So the spell has been read, and on the next page it's a full page of Djall Sailor Moon villaining away, and he goes, "No!" as he goes, "Doom!" It's a big...
Piper's boobies are in charge here, too.
Oh, jeez, yeah. Woo.
Look at those busty things.
They can have their own sound effect.
Right?
Jiggle, jiggle.
And then we see everybody standing around in the manor, and then Gabe awakens. He's like, Paige! And then I love Phoebe. She's like, my hands, my tiny hands. Oh, I'm so happy. It's so weird. And then we see Gabe say, what just happened? And then Paige just like kisses him. I don't know. It's like, and then I guess Phoebe's like, atta girl. And then she is kissing him, and she has a little tear running down her cheek, her eyeball. And then we see Leo and Shaina like floating down. I guess they're like, did it work? And Piper's like, we couldn't have done this without you, Shaina. We could use your help in the future. And I guess I was wondering like, why are they floating there? But I guess that's where they're hidden. They were like up above, like floating while she was doing the illusions. So I'm like, okay. And then she's like, well, it was fun to play a charmed one for a few days. That was exhausting. I'm going to go back to my quiet college student life where I'm going to meet Billy someday, probably. And then they're like, Piper's like, well, you're always welcome here.
P3. 3 days later, the sisters are sitting together in this empty-ass club that doesn't really look like the club. But anyway, we have Piper saying, don't get cocky, Podge. A demon-free week is short-lived in our line of work. And then Podge is like, can't I just enjoy it a little, Piper? God, fucking killjoy. She's like, besides, after we sent Djall packing, demons everywhere are afraid of us. And then Febois says, if only that were true, sweetie. And then we have a teenage boy with a wig on, and they call it Elise. Phoebe says, Elise, are you here to buy another painting? And Elise is like, no, the one I have already cost me enough. I wanted to come by to see if you were sure about passing on the editorial position. And Phoebe says, I am. I really appreciate the opportunity, but the column is really enough for me. There's so many people who need help out there. And then Elise says, I understand. Besides, I have a drawer full of toys to get back to, and as an editor, you wouldn't get away with disappearing all the time. Phoebe says, but, and then she's like, see you tomorrow.
And you're right. This is a major canonical thing, because this looks nothing like P3. It's like they're like a purple little chair, and then they have this whole gallery section, which, where is this even? There's no place in P3 that looks like this. There would no place to hang things like this.
And it's confusing, and like, because the lighting. Even the way it's drawn, like, it almost, like, there's walls around this inner part, but then there's city. I don't know. It's
very bizarro.
Yeah.
But we also have another You Look Familiar moment here.
Have we met before? You look familiar.
The one with the 3 of them sitting there was a picture inspired by Season 2, Episode 21, Apocalypse Not, at the very end of it, when they're chilling out in the P3. And once again, they flipped it, though. They flipped it though, because in Apocalypse Not, Phoebe was on the other side, like kind of leaning into Prue, and Piper was on the right side, right
Yeah.
side, doing this thing. They added arms here, so they're holding drinks because they weren't holding drinks in the original episode, so the arms are new. But yeah, and then they just replaced Prue with Paige. And yeah,
Prue.
that's definitely taken. I know, but it's. I mean, it's kind of cool that they're using Prue episodes to inspire these new ones. I would have thought for sure they would have taken like nice Paige moments, but they went not. They went back to their earlier seasons, 2 and 3. So yeah, that's what that's from. So then we see Piper say to Phoebe that Lisa's got your number, Phoebes, and then Phoebe's like, I can be a good columnist, but I have to be a great witch. Lives depend on it. Oh, so this is totally unlike Phoebe here, because once she got a job, she's like, it's my job. I have to do my work. Screw the innocents. Because she was very much like obsessed with work for a long time over anything. So I mean, I guess this because it's still fresh. She's like, yeah, I'm gonna save those innocents more. And then Paige is like, well said. Now if you excuse me, I'm going to enjoy this demon dry spell and live it up. I'm gonna find Gabe. And then she's like, hey you, and he's like, Podge, this is a great turnout. And then she's like, I'm so happy we could help. And she cuddles him. He's like, thank you, Paige. And then I love that we see these people around. There's like this Chinese businessman, and there's this lady with the cat, a cat in a bow tie. Randomly, like, are they allowed at the art show? I don't know. I guess if you're rich enough, they let you do anything. And then he says, thank you so much. And we see that his eyes are demon eyes, and Gabe is still a demon. What? The end? Question mark. Why is Gabe still a demon?
Here's my theory, because we read, like, it said finishing off the first arc, so I believe this was going to be, like, a longer comic, but it just didn't take off.
Yeah, that's one of the questions I had for Erica when we talked to her. I was going to ask her, like, did they know that it was going to be a 5-issue run, or did it get, cut off prematurely? So that's one thing I have to ask. And it does say the end question mark, so maybe they weren't sure.
Yeah. Because, I mean, in comic storytelling, usually the first arc is 3, 5, or 6 issues, and then they like vanquish something, but there's always something dangling for the future. So I imagine Gabe was going to become like, I don't know, maybe Djall like reborn, and they would find some way to explain it, and he would be the big bad, and like, because there would have to be some reason that Gabe's not around anymore, and Shaina's not around anymore.
Right.
So.
And I think that's my biggest issue with it, is because this is the end of it, the final. I don't mind him being a demon or anything like that, but I think it would be more rewarding if we were given context. And I like the interesting that Djall did have some kind of hold on his soul. We know that, but we don't know what it was. I'm like, was it some kind of Faustian deal? Maybe Gabe was in on it from the beginning. There's so many questions. So I wish we had more information about what made Gabe so special. But this is all we get. It's more annoying than anything, because this is not the cliffhanger that I want. If I know there's not more coming,
Yeah, especially with, I forgot her name again, the big demon.
Maisie.
We really didn't get any story with Maisie. Like, it would have been interesting if there was something linking her and Gabe more, because then we could surmise that maybe she turned him, maybe Djall turned him, maybe he's still possessed. Who knows?
There's so many. Yeah, so I have that on my list of questions for Erica as well, to ask her about if she had any ideas about Maisie's backstory or who she is, because I would like to see more about her. Yeah. Whew, so we got through. How did you feel about this issue?
I think I have to look at it from 2 angles. I have to look at it from this being a 5 comic limited series, I have very strong feelings, and then this being a recurring planning to go over 5 issues, I have other feelings, because like it does set up a good story. It does set up something I would want to keep reading to know like the mystery, but like we just said, as a 5 comic, it leaves just so many questions. It's almost like, well, why did I even start this if I'm not going to get any answers?
Right.
But both ways, my biggest complaint is Maisie and Djall were so easy to kill. Like, there's no like struggle here. We really don't know a whole lot more about them, especially Maisie, for her being the big overarching bad. She's just an afterthought, kind of. So, it wasn't the most thrilling end to this comic series.
Mm-hmm. I am very disappointed in this issue, if you haven't guessed. I have so much anger and frustration over this issue. My blood was boiling to 98 degrees. I was over this issue by page 5. Like, to me, like, the action was predictable, anticlimactic, no real tension, no real humor, just kind of there. Very little that made sense. Constant canonical problems. It almost felt like this issue, like they knew it was the end, and so they're just like phoning it in, like just doing whatever to get it done. You know, it felt very lazy. Even in the editing, I don't know. I was just very mad because even within their own story, they feel like there was problems.
It feels like Erica probably had a longer plan, and like you said, they probably told her this could be the last episode, so she had to like whittle it all down to end it in a comic, and then she left the cliffhanger just in case.
Right. And there was some attempt at interesting fight sequences, but I don't think it was enough to save it from the boring, repeated throwing potions at everything trick. That's all they did. Potions. Throw a potion, say a spell, throw a potion. I mean, they were doing some things. I know they tried to do things, but it just wasn't enough to make it interesting.
Yeah.
This issue wasn't my favorite, but now I want to talk about like 1,000 Deaths, the whole 5 issues as a whole. If you recall, before we started, I remembered liking this from the first time I read it. I remember liking them. Reading them now collectively, they are not awful. I do enjoy some of what was happening, and I think the concept had a lot of really good potential, with issue 3 being the best of them all. I think issue 3 was very successful in what it was trying to do. And some may disagree with this, but I do think the interior artwork was quite polished and beautiful and pretty. Yeah. It was really nice, and the Orban displays were so refreshing. I was very happy about those. It was a fun ride of a story, but I kept waiting for the stakes to amp up and for something to move me, and ultimately it didn't happen. It felt more like a generic kind of thing. There's like no real heart or emotional significance, and I look for a lot of emotional stuff in my stories. It was very surface, very like this is something that's happening, not a lot of depth, character depth. And I do feel like season 10 kind of spoiled us with that, because that's like most of what season 10 was, so maybe that's why. And of course the canonical problems. But more than the obvious.
Wait, there were canonical problems? Did you point any
out? Yeah. I mean, we know the ones that were timeline-wise, and I was open-minded enough to forgive those in the end, or in the beginning, but now I don't know if I can let slide anymore based off everything. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
So we're going to skip canonical, because I went through all that already. So tips for future white lighters.
Oh, we're really just messengers? Guides? Think of us as guardian angels for good witches.
Tips for future white lighters.
I was out being a force of good in the universe.
What's the moral of the story?
Okay, she's gonna be a little bitchy. I think the moral that I took mostly from this is that if you're gonna take on IP, like, respect the rules.
Yeah, it's almost like they kind of took the base level and didn't like really investigate enough time.
Yeah, especially like you said in this last one, there were a lot of corners cut just to like get to the end, and it doesn't do anyone any favors.
Yeah, and I'm so mad about like the one. I think the one that pisses me off the most is Shaina being there to say that spell. Like, they don't need her. She's not a replacement power of 3. I'm so mad at that so much. So my tip is sometimes you just have to scream. Yeah. Okay. Ooh, onomatopoeia.
Ooh, I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna go with womb, just because it sounds like womb, and we haven't really seen it before.
Yes, that's what I picked too. Womb, fruit of the womb. Womb Raider. Yeah, that's why I picked it. It sounded like ooh, yeah. So now is most valuable panel.
You're gonna hate me. But I really like this image of like Piper holding her hands out, like, take it, bitches, take the potions.
Okay. I mean, it's a good action shot. Like, yeah, it's not canonical, but it is pretty.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense, but it's very pretty, and I like it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it just shows how like boss bitch level she is.
Yeah. And she did the same thing in issue 1 with her exploding power. It's like, what is this? She's just like, yeah, take it or leave it. Take me,
Yeah.
baby, or leave me. Okay. My most valuable panel is the cat with the bow tie.
Wow, you really hated
It
this
was-
comic.
It was cute. It was cute. I don't know. Okay. Next is sexiest drawing. What's the sexiest drawing?
Okay, this is another weird Sean one, because you know how I notice the most random things. But all the way on the page where Shayna's like unwrapping her bruised hand, there's an image at the bottom of two demons fighting Piper and Phoebe. And the demon on the right is totally a fuck me daddy Satan. Like, he's all sexy in his like wife beater and his pants and his butt's
I know.
out.
I do. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah,
It was.
he's got
Yeah.
the big ears. You know, I like my big ears.
Yeah. I can. I mean, I gotta admit, I did feel some feels there too. So yeah, it makes sense. My sexiest was. I thought that was a really beautiful image, like Djall floating in the cave when he was like kind of meditating there.
Oh yeah.
His facial hair was on point. His hair was blown in the wind. I mean, I don't usually like long hair like that, but he looked really good. I loved his little meditation pose. So I said that one.
Nice.
All right, here we are, the moment of truth. Issue ranking. Is this magically delicious, pretty witchin', a sorcerer's apprentice, disenchanting, or vanquishable?
So I'm gonna start with the strength really quick. I think these comics as a whole did a really good job of mirroring an episode. Like, this is fun.
It felt charmed.
Yeah, it
It
felt
did
very
feel charmed.
Like we said, this last issue, standalone, not great. I'm gonna say disenchanting. I'm gonna go with that, just because I don't
Okay.
absolutely hate it, but it could have been a lot better.
Yeah. Well, this whole arc is called 1,000 Deaths, and I'm officially going to make it 1,001. Vanquishable.
Wow.
I was just so mad at this issue, and everything was too easy and too lackluster. When something makes me this mad, I can't.
Yeah.
Like, over you. I think this is only the second time I've ever used Vanquishable, so it's very rare that I get this like this, but yeah, I'm giving it.
You know what you made me just realize is, why was it called 1,000 Deaths? What were the 1,000 deaths?
I don't know. That's another thing. Why is it called 1,000 Deaths? Because people aren't really dying. They're being taken over by demons, but they're not dying.
Yeah, there's only one person that dies, and that's
And-
Usta.
Yeah, and did they really take 1,000 souls? I don't think so. So
We're gonna
the
have to
title
ask
doesn't even make
Erica.
sense. Yeah, why did you call it 1,000 Deaths? What does the title mean? Oh, I'm so angered. Okay, okay. Let's just move on. Because this is the last issue, we have a Grimoire game.
What is this, some kind of game?
Grimoire game.
Some people think this is entertainment.
But I'm making it short and sweet. Just a quick Grimoire game. I'm asking one true or false question for each of the 5 issues.
Okay.
All right. So issue 1, true or false? We are introduced to Shaina in issue 1.
True.
False.
Ah!
We talked about her, but she doesn't appear till issue 2. All right. True or false? Gabe's art showing was at the Eisenberg Gallery.
True.
True. That's correct. Yes. All right. Issue 3. True or false? Robin is a portal demon.
Like, she turned into one, or she is one?
Robin is a portal demon. That's all it says. like I made it up.
I feel like this is a trick question, but I'm gonna say true.
False. The only portal demon in this series is Djall, actually.
Okay, and he turns people
all the other ones
through his portals.
Demons just kind of take over them. But he's the only one that is a portal demon. So either way, because Robin is a person or a demon, either way, she would never have been a portal demon. All right. True or false? The Charmed ones are all together in issue 4.
False.
Correct.
Ah!
Yeah. We see Piper, Phoebe, and Paige, quotation marks, but in all of issue 4, the real Paige, his soul is in the underworld. She's trapped, so she's possessed the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's false. Okay, number 5, true or false? The cat's bow tie is blue.
It's like a turquoise, so I'm gonna say yes. True.
True. Correct. Yes. So there you go. Grimoire game.
Yay!
Round of applause.
You were so eager to be done.
Yeah. All right. So we did it. We made it through this issue. What's next is Magic School. We're going to be covering the next thing, Dynamite Magic School, which is like 105-page manga. And we have decided to break it into 3 sections. So we're not going to cover it all at once because it is quite long. So we're going to do 3 separate episodes about Magic School. So that's starting next week. We also have a interview with Erica Schultz, the writer, coming like early, right between this episode and next week's episode. So yeah. All right. So we did it, Sean. Tell the people where they can find you.
On Instagram under Sean.Perrette, and that'll link you to my link tree for Threadless, where I have original art you can buy on shirts or other products. Which is for a Dream of Waking, my book on Amazon. Our other podcast, Kevin, we're about to record, Solving for X. I've been up since very early. I got up at like 4 today, so I have a lot of weird energy right now.
Yeah, it's that weird, like, tired, happy energy. Yeah, it's like, I get that. I know those days. Oh, brings me back to my youth. Yeah, and you can follow this podcast on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Words of the Witches. We're also on Twitter, Words of Witches. We have the wordsofthewitches.threadless.com for merch. And you can email. I always forget to tell people they can email. It's wordsofwitchespod@gmail.com. So if you have anything to say, if you have any questions or concerns, or you want to know something, if you want to just tell me something, yeah, it's there. So next week, well, we have the interview and Magic School on the horizon. So Spellworders, enjoy your week, your time apart until we see you again. Your destiny still awaits.
I'm a snag.
Snog.